some kind of divinity. Put simply, most of us perceive in the physical world and in ourselves a larger intention. The whole thing seems arranged, not accidental, created, not a product of chance. And so we imagine there must be a creator. The ancient Hebrew poet describes the sentiment well. The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. Day after day they pour forth speech. Night after night they display knowledge. They have no speech, they use no words, no sound is heard from them, yet their voice goes out into all the earth, their words to the ends of the world. The same point was made by St. Paul in his hugely influential epistle to the Romans. Since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made. Belief in God, in other words, is not a deduction people make only after analyzing evidence and weighing arguments. It is far more basic, more instinctive. It is something most of us perceive directly by living in a world that seems strangely rational in the way it is put together. This is not to deny that countless professional philosophers go beyond this intuition to provide sophisticated arguments for belief in God. All I'm saying here is that the perception seems to be a fundamental thing for most of us, which is probably why infants, whether in Britain or Japan, where Dr. Petrovich did her comparative research, work out themselves that the world was made by someone. I realize that some people do not perceive these things. I'm not sure I have an adequate explanation for this other than to point out that some of humanity's other grand ideas also sometimes go unacknowledged. Some people dislike music, for instance, and others hate art. I cannot explain this. Plenty of people are anarchists, too. They honestly believe that cultural mores, ethical standards and systems of government are bad things, mere inventions that hinder human flourishing. I puzzle over why they do not perceive the truth and beauty found in some form of rule. I am not suggesting a connection here between atheism and anarchism, or between atheism and disdain of the arts. I am just observing that some ideas can be fabulously compelling to most thinking people, and not at all obvious to a minority of equally thoughtful people. Intellectually, I puzzle over atheism just as I puzzle over anarchism and aartism. At this point, my atheist friends like to throw in a favorite rhetorical flourish. You Christians reject all the gods of history except one. We atheists just deny one God more. The suggestion here is that when Christians reflect on why they reject Zeus, Ra, Isis, Vishnu et al., they will come to see the good sense of the atheist who simply adds one more deity to the rubbish bin. This is cute and repeated surprisingly often, but a moment's thought shows it to be rather silly. For one thing, believers in any particular religion do not reject other gods in toto. They deny only the particular manifestations and stories of the other deities. A Christian, for instance, can happily acknowledge the wisdom of the ancient Egyptians or Indians in positing the existence of a powerful intelligence that orders the universe, whether Ra or Vishnu, and then beg to differ with these ancient cultures when it comes to the elaborations and add-on characteristics of these particular gods. There is an irreducible conviction shared by all worshippers. The rational order of the universe is best explained by the existence of an almighty mind or minds behind it all. Atheists, then, are simply wrong to liken their rejection of all divinity to a Christian's rejection of particular versions of divinity. The analogy of marriage might help. True, I have rejected all other potential spouses in favor of my darling Buff, but this does not mean I have rejected the idea at the core of everyone else's marriage. It would be a rather zealous celibate who ventured to say, when you consider why you reject Amelia, Michelle, and Heather, the wives of some of my colleagues at CPX, then you will see the good sense of rejecting marriage altogether. We celibates just go one partner further. As if the difference between committed monogamy and deliberate celibacy is one of degree. There is a huge difference between my rejection of particular marriage partners and the celibate's rejection of marriage itself. There is an equally large difference between a Christian's denial of particular manifestations of the divine and an atheist's rejection of divinity itself. It will take more than neat rhetorical flourishes to undermine the tenacious, near-universal conviction that there must be some kind of Deus behind